Hello, folks. Welcome to my podcast, Al's Joint, where we take on some of the hot issues in politics today head on. So let's take the gloves off and let's get at it. Today, folks, we'll be taking some questions from previous podcasts, some from the right, some from the left, and a couple other issues we'll touch on today. So let's get right to the questions. The first question comes from a MAGA supporter. He writes, "Why does a left hate Trump so much? Why do you hate Trump so much?" Well, I can't speak for anybody else, folks, but I can speak for myself. I don't hate Donald Trump, but I do hate Trumpism. I do hate sexism. I do hate racism. I do hate Nazism. I do hate the fact that folks follow somebody blindly who is a sexist, a racist, a convicted felon, a person who was convicted of sexual misconduct, and the list goes on and on and on. What really boggles my mind is, why do folks follow somebody so blindly who's ignored science, educators, medical experts, and even common sense to follow a grifter? I'll never truly understand that. They didn't do it once, but they done it twice. So that's the real question for you guys. The next question is, it comes from somebody on the left. Do you believe that Elon Musk is truly a Nazi? Yes, I do. I believe what my eyes show me, what my ears tell me, but more importantly, what a person's actions say to me. What's the old saying? If it looks like a duck, and it walks like a duck, and it sounds like a duck, it must be a Nazi. And folks, when somebody tells you that this greeting is them telling you that they're blowing you a kiss from their heart, either they're full of shit or you're willing to accept anything that anybody tells you, or both. But I will continue to believe what my eyes and ears tell me first. So yes, I believe that Elon Musk is a Nazi. I think his family is rooted in that. I think he thinks this is best opportunity to bring the Nazi movement back and bring it to the forefront. And Donald Trump's not going to do anything. Why would he fight back against his president? Vice President Trump's going to follow blindly. That's what he does. Next, let's delve into an issue that just came up with Trump turning the White House into a used car lot. One of the lowest times for us in American history. If they put that on Saturday Night Live, you would think that it was just a skit or it could never happen. You can't make this stuff up, folks. President Musk, his company started taking it on the chin because of all the negative publicity and the hundreds of thousands of people that he was cutting out of their jobs. So Donald Trump decided to be the car salesman in chief. And he's in a Tesla, which he calls a Tesla, and he's telling folks how great the Tesla is. I don't even think Donald Trump knows how to drive. I'll bet you $1 to a penny that Donald Trump has never drove a car himself in his life. But a convicted felon can get on TV and tell you to buy a car as a used car salesman. I'm done shaking my head. It's just unbelievable. But here's what'll happen. You'll get some MAGA folks who can't afford to buy Teslas or that other, I don't even know what the name of the truck is, probably the ugliest car that I've ever seen in my life. And I've drove in station wagons for folks who are my age and understand or know what a station wagon is. But these folks, these MAGA folks, are going to run out because their cult leader told them to go out and buy Teslas, or if they ask for Teslas, they probably won't get a car because Teslas don't exist. And a year from now, they're not going to be able to make the payments, and they're going to lose their car and their credit and everything else. And or maybe President Musk will fire them from their jobs. How ironic would that be? And they won't be able to continue making the payments on the Tesla.
What do you think of an electric car?
Looking to buy or lease today?
Well, I'm going to buy. Everybody's going to be forced to buy an electric car, which they're not going to do because they don't want that. They want everybody to have an electric car. We don't have enough electricity. We couldn't make enough electricity for that. Very expensive, and they can all be made in China. They don't work in the cold, and they don't go far. And I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets. And it's good for short trips, like to the candy store and back. Number two, because this man has endorsed me very strongly, Elon. So I have no choice.
We're back, folks. Let's try to, I want to touch on a subject this also was given to us through some of the responses we received from the other podcasts. Where is the church? I don't know who sent that, but it's in all bold. Where is the church? So I guess that brings us to a question. What role did the church play in the rise of power of Donald Trump? And how and why? How did the church manage to throw support behind a whoremonger, a sexist, a racist, a convicted felon, a man who cheated on his first wife with his second wife, cheated on his second wife with his third wife, cheated on his third wife with a porn star, and has a video, is recorded on video saying that you just grab a woman, force them to kiss you, and grab them by the private parts. This is a church, folks. This is a Christian right. These are the folks who will tell you what Jesus would do as they're following behind this would-be cult leader. I don't know if the church cares or not. I think the church is in it just like any other corporation. They're in it it's a business. It has to be. You can't tell me that they can look themselves in the mirror and say, Jesus will follow a whoremonger, a sexist, a convicted felon, person guilty of sexual misconduct towards women. You can't tell me that. So you wonder why people are running away from the church. They're looking for other answers. There's no way in the world you're going to convince some of these folks now that the church is the way to go. Follow me, follow Donald Trump. But that's the position they put themselves in. That's the image they have to fight to overcome. Are we Christ-like or are we Trump-like? But look, folks, we've come to the end of another episode. I want to thank folks for joining me on Al's Joint. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. We'll see you next week. We'll be in Western Pennsylvania talking to some retirees. We'll be in Western Ohio talking to some folks who voted for Kamala Harris, some trade unionists, but who live in the middle of Trump country. And we'll keep the fight going. So remember, let's keep the gloves off and let's get at it.
This episode of Al's Joint is brought to you by Jackpack.
Hey folks, this week's shout out goes out to the Robert Morris Colonials from Robert Morris University, formerly Robert Morris College. The men's basketball team just punched their ticket to the big dance. They're going to the NCAA tournament. So congratulations to the coaches and the players. And to all the alumni, let's make sure we root for our Colonials.